Hello, this is the TradeSite U.S. Stocks and Futures Market Preview and Domestic Economic Data Roadmap for the week beginning Monday, the 11th of July, and ending Friday, the 15th. Hope you're having a good week. Charts, as usual, brought to you by eSignal 12. Here's a look at the ES front month futures contract. Swept the highs of the year. It's not quite a new closing high. We did close up near 2130 last year, but we're right near it. We're right near the all-time new high on the ES, the broad S&P market, which is interesting. So obviously we've shaken off the Brexit vote. It wasn't a very exciting day. Strangely, it was the best volume day of the week at 1.76 billion NASDAQ shares. We'll look at that in a minute. But overall, again, this was the pattern we really saw before the Brexit vote. It looked like it could break out, and then obviously Brexit shook us for a bit, and now we seem to think that either Brexit's not going to happen or it's not going to be a negative to the U.S. when it does. Either way, the markets look very interesting here. I'm not sure yet what to make of it. Obviously, if we break out, you would think a lot of stocks are going to be big movers for a few days, and that would not be uncommon for July. July is a time of year where they put a lot. We've talked about this. A lot of the big institutions will start shifting positions for the second half of the year or adding to them, if that may be the case. So, it would be an interesting time to break out because you'd see a lot of stocks running, and that would be interesting, far more interesting than what we saw this week. All right, let's look at everything we usually look at. So oil's been off. Now it's at 45.20. It was up a couple of cents on Friday. Gold up $4.50 to 1366.60. S&P gained 32, so there's that new closing high on the S&P cash index here at 2129.90. But I think if I go back, actually, is that a new closing high? Last year, the highest it got, no, I don't think so. Let's take a good look at this. The highest close would be right here, which was 2130.82. So we've about not even a point less than the highest close ever on the S&P, and that's ever, not just. Sometimes they say all-time high, they mean the last year. This is ever. NDX up 68.78. That's about to break out of that range potentially. You gotta love how we came one bar away from getting a 13 secret buy signal right before we made that pop. Stocks up 19.25. Biotech's up 33.61. Sorry. VIX was down 158, heading towards the lows. Trin low reading at 0.42. That brings the 10-day moving average to 1.06. Let me count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that reading you see up at 2.2, that's going to drop off the 10-day moving average after Monday. So that's going to bring that, when you've got a 4.42 reading here and a 2.2 about to drop off, that can actually shake that moving average. And then we have another high reading at 1.5 the day after. That'll come off by Tuesday. Be careful here. That's the one warning sign, is that if you get that 10-day trend moving average down to 0.85 or lower, that'll be a sell signal on the broad market. That's going to be something very interesting to watch over the next 2 days. 1.75 billion shares on Friday. You can see that's the best of the week. We did have the non-farm payroll numbers, a lot of jobs created, and that's part of what caused the rise. But again, strange to see the volume up finally on a Friday. Advanced decline ratio on the NASDAQ, look at this, number one breadth day of the last year, plus 2130 on the NASDAQ, plus 2369 on the New York, almost. It's the top three of the last year. A lot of stocks up for the day. Google gained $10.52 to 717.78. Apple, 74-cent gain. So that's another move back up for Apple. Amazon up 9.24. Guess what? New closing highs on Amazon, the stock that never stops. Netflix up $1.96. Tesla closed about flat. All right, so let's look at the intra-day action for the week. These are 10-minute candles. Remember, Monday was a holiday. That's why you see that weird squish day. They opened the futures for a few, but nobody's there to trade. So Tuesday was a gap down from Friday. Fairly flat, just kind of drifted lower. Wednesday we gapped down, headed up, filled the gap, and then closed higher. We filled the gap from Friday in that move up. Got a 13 sell signal on the 10-minute chart right at the start of Thursday, and that was the high of the day. Rolled over and then came back, basically closed almost flat on Thursday. And then Friday, like I said, with the data, gap up. It was 10, 12 points on the ES, decent gap up, and then we just kind of drifted higher. Volume was good, but a lot of stocks weren't moving. If you take a look at something like Goldman Sachs, for example, let me switch to 5 minutes because I had this as a call long, and look how flat that thing got over the course of the day. Everybody left. This is the deal with summer Fridays, folks. Just be aware of that. and people leave. The big players leave and head out, so things get kind of flat. NASDAQ side, not much different. Gap down Tuesday, made its way back up Wednesday, flat day Thursday, gap and go Friday. Look at that 13 sell signal Friday with about 2 hours left, and that flattens everything out, gets stuck under the risk line. All right, let's take a look at the data that's coming out in the week ahead. There's nothing on Monday at all. Tuesday's the 12th, that's wholesale inventories. Wednesday's MBA mortgage index, import-export prices, crude oil inventories an hour in, Fed beige book and Treasury budget in the afternoon. On Wednesday, we've got on Thursday, the weekly initial and continuing jobless claims, PPI, natty gas an hour in, and then Friday, actually quite a bit of data, Empire Manufacturing, retail sales, CPI, capacity utilization, industrial production, business inventories, and Michigan sentiment. However, the thing to keep in mind is that this week is summer July options expiration. It's a single expiration, not a triple expiration. So Friday, not only is it a summer Friday, everybody leaves, but it's also options expiration Friday, which is boring to begin with. We'll look for the options unraveling move Wednesday, maybe Thursday if we don't get it Wednesday. Since it's a single expiration in the summer, you might not get much, but who knows? We'll see if there were big options positions based on the Brexit vote. And then Friday morning, I would say at best, you're going to get some shake around from all that data in the first 30 minutes in pre-market, and then everybody's going to leave like they did today on Friday. Charts as usual brought to you by East Signal 12. If you've not yet taken a trial of our services, feel free to do so. We will help you out for a couple weeks, and have a great middle of July trading week.